The voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, good morning. This is Arlene, and today we have a few people here in the studio as well as online. We have Lee Jin Yang from Penang. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you can get the mic closer to you. And also Leong Sheng from Kampar and Adam Fistival Wilfrid from Sabah. Hi, hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, and also we have Zurairi Abdul Rahman on the line. Is Zurairi here?
Hi, morning.
Yeah. So Zurairi is the Malay male online journalist, and both of the three dashing guys here, which is Lee Jin Yang, Leong Sheng, and Adam Fistival, are members of the student union. Am I correct?
Student council.
A student council. Sorry, a student council members in University of Malaya.
Yes.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about Obama's visit to Malaysia, in particular about the town hall meeting we had yesterday, and all of you guys attended the town hall meeting. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And also Zurairi was part of the media team in the town hall meeting.
Yes, the media team that was at the back.
Yeah, at the back. So did you get a nice view there, or?
Well, I have to squint my eyes. All the lights and yep.
I see. So, first of all, share with us how do you get chosen? I mean, with representative of the student council here, to be part of this one in a lifetime event.
Basically, the HGP people send about 100 names to the U.S. Embassy, and after that, the U.S. Embassy itself, they will do some screening, and after that, those chosen students will be emailed, or if they will be receive some calls, and then after that, we collect all the tickets for the day itself.
How many of the student council members that were selected to be part of this?
43, because student council is the supreme organization in so all of our members are invited. And there are some students who also be invited, for example, president of some clubs in
Okay. And Zurairi, why do you think, sorry. How is it the same thing when it comes to the media? Are they being screened?
Most definitely. I think how it worked was every publication was required to submit a name to cover the event. You were only allowed to send one correspondent and one photographer. To be frank, I was chosen for the simple fact that I was on duty yesterday.
Oh, really?
I was in the roster. I totally forgot about Obama's visit until I got an email saying that I was already given credentials to cover the event. So I just had to print that email and bring it along with me. And
I see.
All the instructions.
So that was awesome, right? So
it was a good surprise.
It's a good surprise. So what is your impression on the Obama's Asia tour and visit to Malaysia?
Well, as a reporter, naturally, it was exciting. It was a huge event. I was excited in the sense that it was a big journalistic event, but at the same time, I was baffled that people actually thought to ask President Obama to fix a lot of problems in our country. I think we should have some pride instead of fawning over this savior. We should probably fix those problems ourselves rather than ask him to do it. That's what I thought.
I see. At least that's the impression that you get about his overall Asia tour here and his visit to Malaysia. And what about, for example, Leong Sheng? Is that your name?
Yes.
What is your impression when Obama decided to come to Malaysia for one of his Asia tour?
I think it is one of the sparkling moments of Malaysia, and it is a platform. It is a platform for, or it is a initial initiation of some movement can be done, like Reformasi 2.0, which we will try to change the landscape, change our mindset to solve our own problem.
I see. And Adam, you knew about the town hall meeting when you were selected. What was your impression when you got selected to be part of this?
Actually, yeah, for sure. I feel it's to be an honor and excited. The excitements for waiting for those 1 weeks, because this is a rare chance. People are inboxing me through Facebook, asking me how can I get to be selected to be with Obama on that day. Students, like almost all of the students of University Malaya are asking me, is it possible for us to come in? Is it possible for us to listen to their speech? Because what they think is Obama's speech is like a worth of gold, something like
Really?
that. Yeah.
So Lee Jin-young, when you were selected, did you felt like, oh, this is someone that I really worship, or did you felt that, or you felt this is someone that I want to tell him something,
Of course, someone that I want to tell him something, because I think that that's normal that in Malaysia, there's many people who have already seen Obama as an idol, but we need to know that actually in America, he is just a normal politician who only managed to get about half of the support from his citizens. And for me, this is an opportunity that, because we have followed up some global issues and also some national issues for so long, and finally we have an opportunity to ask a world leader face to face.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, when I was there, the first thing that came to my mind, besides him being seen as a celebrity, is I don't know if you noticed or not, like a lot of us took selfie with him at the back.
including Jin Yang.
No, I was ordered by my friends to take the selfie and tag him.
So partially, I mean, he is a celebrity on his own right, but at the same time, I think he's here for a certain purpose, and we should not, just be distracted by that selfie moment. Do you agree on that, Riley? I'm sure you were pretty busy on the media section there.
Well, I couldn't even afford a selfie. It was too far back.
You couldn't afford a selfie. Okay. So next one is about Obama's speech. He talked for quite some time on touching on different areas. In fact, his speeches, personally, I thought were quite good. He touches on issues related to human rights, on universal principles and values, and on democracy and all. But what is your opinion? I mean, your overall opinion on Obama's speech and his presence on the stage? Maybe start with Zurairi first.
Well, I haven't read the morning papers yet, but I have an inkling that little from that speech will actually go out in the mainstream media or in the major newspapers. I think Obama chose that town hall event to say things that probably he could not say in other events, other official events, because he knows probably not a lot of people will be listening in. But of significance is President Obama's insistence for everyone to be treated equally. And I think there should another important point that probably not a lot of people reported yesterday was that there should be open space for the civil society. And I hope that the United was listening to that, because as we all know, there have been state-sanctioned reprisals against human rights defenders and civil society under the guise of race and religion. So I think that is a very important point in this speech, and sadly probably not a lot of us will know about that point if there had been so little media reporting on it yesterday.
Interesting. And I personally believe that even in the media, there were people highlighting that Obama's speeches were good, but at the same time, he, there were people highlighting that Obama's speeches were good, but at the same time, he's not walking the talk. And yeah, I think a lot of us in the studio here can share your view on this. Start with Adam.
He said he brings up he's with the democratic, as we know that the U.S. government itself is hold up the democratic values, and as what he said yesterday, he's doing some like hold up the human rights, but then the U.S. government itself, they forget that they don't never take concern about the life of the 529 life of the Al Ikhwan Muslims in Egypt, which is they are convicted to death. As you can see, like previously, the president has just climbed as a president of United States, and then he has held a visit to Egypt a few times when Egypt was under the rule of Dr. Morsi, and he had said that he has voiced support for uniting Muslims and American. But then, for now, why the U.S. government does not have any undue involvement and to voice out any drastic objection when the LCC seized control of the Morsi's government and they denied the people the voice of the people who chose Dr. Morsi. So what is the meaning of his democratic values? What if he said that he's uphold the democratic ways? So why he didn't take any appropriate action as one of the countries that U.S. is famous with those who always reunite countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
I see. And do you have anything to add?
For my opinion, that what I hope for from the speech of President United States is mainly on the human rights or anything of such universal value, because I think that as the first nation in the world who have the written constitution which emphasize on the human rights and also the freedom, I think that that's what a president of the United States should bring to the whole world. But this time, there's a question in my heart that's over about half centuries that the president of the United States didn't come to Malaysia, and this time they choose to come to Malaysia at the time that we have just passed through our general election, which is the most controversial in our history. So my question is, which one is more important to him, TPPA or human rights?
Mm-hmm. Anything to add on?
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
Let me continue some of the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when Bashar al-Assad was the prime minister of Syria, and he seized his own people, American had undue involvement and said that it is not democratic and it is despotic until they're almost sending their U.S. armies. And same goes for the president of the Libya, Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi himself seized his own people by using weapons, and the U.S. government fought against it. But why not the Egypt? Why not helping Dr. Morsi? If he's really go for the democratic and human rights, but why they don't have any undue involvement in the Egypt issues?
I see. Zurairi, I want to ask you, even though U.S. have very questionable foreign policy, but it is still seen as a country that uphold, or at least as a beacon for human rights and democracy. And in this sense, do you still see America as the unipolar power that would uphold certain standards to the rest of the world?
Well, I don't have such lofty hope for them. I mean, I do not expect them to do anything more than running their own country. I mean, I accept that they are a superpower and they might probably be a beacon of human rights and all, but truly I do not see them as, I do not uphold the same responsibility to the U.S. to probably exert their superpower to get other people to follow the same human rights convention. I do not hold to that point of view.
Mm-hmm. So even with China, and other superpower in the rise, especially in Asia, do you see having the U.S. as part of a more strategic, not just in terms of a certain human rights and democratic principle, but also as in like it's a way to counterbalance with other, I would say, power that would sort of stop Southeast Asia from becoming a much more democratic nation or region, sorry.
Well, I don't think we should play too much into the dichotomy of U.S. versus China superpower here, especially in the field of human rights, because as we all know, human rights is not simply the domain of the United States or even the Western world itself. I think that there is a lot of countries, even in Asia or the Pacific region, which upholds human rights values probably much better than the U.S. itself. For example, New Zealand, and then probably Australia, Canada, and yes, I mean, my point here is that I believe that human rights is a universal values that, and there are it should be a more universal effort rather than just to just try to rely on the U.S. itself. That's what I think.
I see. So what is your main thought when it comes to Obama's visit to Malaysia? Is it really to uphold certain principles and values, or is it more as a strategic move for other political interests of America?
Most definitely, I think the word that has been used a lot is a pivot towards the Asia-Pacific region, which basically just translates to trying to counter the power of China. I think, in particular, his visit to Malaysia is probably to repair relations, as you might remember that Malaysia and U.S. relations had bordered on being antagonistic or even hostile, especially during the times of our longest-serving Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Perhaps what Obama was trying to achieve with his visit to Malaysia was to show a different side to the Malaysians, that what the U.S. is all about. I mean, whether it is true, the kind of image that he is trying to portray, that's open to question. But I think he might probably just trying to placate those who have demonized the U.S. for getting in bed with Israel. We have a lot of conservatives who do not want anything to do with the U.S., labeling them antichrist, happening, and all sorts of horrible words. That's why I think his visit is. In addition to all the negotiations with the PPA.
Mm-hmm. But I can't help to raise this issue of him wanting to meet with NGOs that uphold certain values and also liberal Muslim groups. What do you think of this? I mean, if he's just here for for an economic interest or other geopolitical interest, then why is he taking the time to meet and hear all the issues that were being raised by the NGOs in Malaysia?
Exactly. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I mean, I've heard that they were actually only allocated 15 minutes, but
15 or 50?
It was supposed to be just 15. So, I heard that the representatives were all just standing around trying to brief him as fast as possible, but then Obama just pulled up a chair and sit down and come on, just sit down, and then they had a long chat for around 50 minutes, up to 1 hour. Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. Whether he had an agenda of furthering human rights issues in Malaysia, I really have no idea. But it's probably just his own personal interest, or rather, the U.S. own personal interest in human rights. But yeah, as a lot of our fellow members have spoken right now, well, the U.S. itself does not have that stellar record of human rights either. So, well, it remains questionable. But yeah, at least someone is listening. At least listening and probably can bring up the concern to a higher level. That's it.
I see. Adam, what do you think of this, of Obama wanting to visit and also meeting with all this non-governmental organization in Malaysia?
For me, it's not only me, but almost all of the Muslims in itself. They think that there's something that the Obama is trying to do something to actually to have. Let me direct to the point. For sure, it will be for the consensus of the TPPA between Malaysia government and US government, and he's trying to get some attraction to the people, especially those young leaders of Southeast Asia. He wants to create an awareness. Sorry to say that I will use some harsh words. Maybe try to doctrine the young people to create an awareness, because as we know that Asian awareness is much more better than this TPPA, and for in an Asian perspective, they think that TPPA is just something that trying to dominate the ASEAN countries. But for me, in my view, that he's paying a visit just to gain people's trust on what he's doing.
Yeah, I think that is the core of his visit here.
Yeah.
He wants to bind the friendship between Malaysia and the US.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, of course, Malaysia government is embracing all out on this friendship. But what about the Malaysian people? Has he win the heart of the Malaysian people? That's one question to be asked to ourselves. Do you think by his visit you felt more at ease with America's presence?
I think most of the youngsters they get it lah. They become more supportive towards the Obama.
I see. Yeah.
But they become supportive, but they don't even know what actually what is TPPA is what about, and then they think that TPPA is a good thing. So there is no awareness about the bad side of the TPPA.
We will talk more about TPPA in a bit more later soon. Now let's move on to the town hall event itself, especially on the question and answer relating to the ASEAN youth leaders. Zurairi, what do you think of the questions being raised?
I think a lot of people were expecting Obama to be grilled on probably foreign policies or human rights issues, but I think common feedback that I get from after the event was that it was filled with petty questions such as what is happiness and what were your regrets. But I think perhaps it's understandable that youth felt that he was sort of approachable, so they tend to ask more personal questions rather than seeing him as a world leader and asking more hard questions.
I mean, this is just my own curiosity. Do you think that the question were being planted, or is it?
It did come to my mind.
Well planted.
Is it? Does it show like our younger generation are actually not that critical in their thinking?
Yeah, exactly. The question that they ask is really, for me, sorry to offend the young people, they are really, that kind of typical question is immature. It's not a type of critical or constructive thinking. Actually, if it's a president there, they should ask some critical question. Don't care any kind of question, as long it's not you can just buy a bibliography outside there. You can just Google it. So, if any young ones, I'm sorry to say this, but at least try to build up your critical thinking of side, because for me, it's really disappointed. I'm really disappointed. I raised my hand last night. I raised my hand, but then I didn't get the chance. When they got the chance, when they asked some typical at least try to build up. So for me, it's disappointed as a youth compared to as a generation X, Gen Y. We should have some good question, especially for those like the superpowers from US. That's all.
Yeah.
And
Lee Jin Yang, what kind of question that you think you would probably ask to Obama if you think that the other questions are a bit, not really on par to your expectation?
For me, if I were given the chance, I will ask about maybe some global issues, such as the humanities in Palestine and Israel, and also about the TPP. And also, I would like to ask Obama's opinion about Malaysian's democracy. Is it that in our pluralistic society, is it the current bipartisan reflects our community? Is it that why Obama come to visit to Malaysia during maybe after we have passed through the darkest general elections? And also I think that why the teenagers tend to ask more about happiness. I think maybe this is one of the results that many teenagers has been idolized Obama.
I see.
And this question is basically when we ask to our commercialized idol.
Do you agree with that?
And I think one of the factors for such case to happen is that the screening itself. There's a screening before they send an invitation to us, and it is disappointing that they didn't choose a representative from the Islamic society from our or those society which has quite some stand on their own regarding the Egypt or regarding TPPA. They do not invite them. They only invite those who, majority of them, idolize Obama.
It's interesting that you raised that. That
Screening.
The screening part, because what are the organizations that were being chosen? Can you name a few? Those that you would say more U.S. friendly organization.
Majority of the UM student chosen actually is coming from the residential college, which is claimed to be more pro-establishment.
Pro-establishment,
yeah,
I see.
So they are the one who will idolize Obama. They are the one who is not. They do not have enough critical thinking skills. They do not have enough concern.
Some of them is not only from UM, but those actually from the other Southeast Asia country. As we know that they came from 10 Southeast Asia country. Those 50 people of other Asian people. For me, what they think is they only think about thinking that Obama is their idol. Nothing more than that. Actually, they're supposed to ask something like critical question.
And the fact that all these young people or young leaders are, in fact, they come from Malaysia and other Southeast Asia region. They are, in fact, being chosen not just based on certain criteria, but they are also being seen as the future generation or the bright ones in Southeast Asia. So Zurairi, do you think our future is doomed based on the questions that we're being asked?
Yeah, that's the thing. Perhaps I might differ from the other fellows today, but I do not actually expect much from the group in the first place. So I wasn't.
So do you know the group well that you don't have any high expectation?
Our future is not dependent on just a small group of people that is in a group. To come up with a conclusion that this signals a not so bright future, I think is probably premature, because it's not. In the end, it's not actually the people who were selected to come to the event yesterday, or even a specific group who will turn out to be leaders of the future. So,
but does it show a But does it show a certain portrayal of the leaders that is being recognized by the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. itself?
What have been said today, they were probably just chosen to make the event runs as smoothly as possible, which means no really hard questions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that all these credible young leaders were being sidelined from the event, and instead young leaders that would rather worship him that were being chosen. That shows something, isn't it? Maybe Leong Sheng.
I think the mistake here is assuming that the town hall event would be actually a place where people get to ask the valid questions, which I think is probably not the right assumption, because it was an organized event. I mean, I believe that the more meatier topic, more meaty issues would not have been raised in that town hall event. It was definitely raised in the meeting with the civil society after that. But I wasn't expecting the event to be very to ask the hard questions, and when it didn't happen, it was up to my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to add some more on the screening part. As we know, the student council, majority of the student council are not pro-establishment. And actually, before the event, the high committee of the student council are actually called by the VC and warned not to do anything during the Obama event.
Oh, I see.
We are warned.
I see.
By
so
the Vice Chancellor.
You've been given beforehand consultation on what to do and what not to do. We will continue again in a few minutes to talk more about a few of the agendas being raised during the town hall event itself, and also your expectation on how this town hall event could have been better addressed and articulated.
The voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Welcome again to the discussion, very interesting discussion about yesterday's Obama's town hall meeting and the view on Obama's visit to Malaysia. So we are going to continue again with Lee Jinyang, Liu Sheng, Adam Fistival, and Zurairi. Are you there, Zurairi?
Yeah.
And are you guys all charged up here in the studio?
Yes, sure.
So now we are moving to the question about Obama's visit to Malaysia. What is the main interest, do you think, if it's not just a human do you think that he's really interested in human rights issues in Malaysia, or he's more into other interests that he didn't really mention or being questioned about?
From his time allocation to meet the government and also to meet maybe the NGOs, I think that human rights also is only one of the minor issues for him. And because for us, the countries that he visits, I think that is more to TPPA. For example, in Japan, he also would like to get something positive about TPPA there with the Prime Minister Abe. But we can see that the Japan rejected Obama, and I think that this is a good sign to Malaysia also.
Mm-hmm. Zurairi, what do you think of this?
Well, I still hold on to my previous opinion that he is here. The tour is mainly to repair relations. As you can see, he skipped Singapore, which already have good relations with the US, and instead went to Malaysia, which have not received any U.S. president for the past decade. How many decades since L.B. Johnson? So.
Is that the case also why he refused to meet the opposition leader?
Well, I have, to be frank, I do not see the reason why he was obliged to meet them in the first place. But I mean, it would be lovely for them if he could have met the opposition leaders in, probably in another event, also with the government. But Well, yeah, I did not see why he must have met them.
I see. When you say mending friendship or ties between Malaysia and America, what are the particular areas that they are, hoping to mend? Because if I'm not mistaken, in one of his speech, he said that America is still the number one investor in Malaysia.
That's true.
And also one of the key trade partners.
Yeah. Trade-wise, import-exports-wise, I don't see any problems. But it's just probably the political side of it. Because Malaysia, for the past few administrations before, had not exactly have good diplomatic relations with the U.S. So probably he's trying to get into Najib's good books.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point of view.
Mm-hmm. Adam, what do you think of his visit to Malaysia? What is his main interest?
Let us look at the global view. Okay.
Yeah, because he's only visiting Malaysia for 3 days, and in his Asia tour, 4 countries were being chosen for his visit.
For me, if his interest in let's go to the scope of economics. If it's, I think his interest is mainly on targeting some of the countries.
The countries that were being chosen was South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and the Philippines. So why all these 4 countries, and why Malaysia in the first place?
Okay. Maybe they see that there's a progress in terms of economics. Maybe Malaysia is, as we know that in ASEAN country itself, Malaysia is the middle class of countries, and the first actually the best is the Singapore, and then the last in terms of economics is Myanmar and Cambodia. So actually, for me, in my global view, U.S. as you know that U.S. and China is having a competition in economy, but then he sees I think the U.S. itself are afraid to lose something in the future, maybe lose in terms of economics, as we know that China is one of the superpower right now, and they have a very good economic and very stable economic. And then when they see that, they are trying to gain some alternative on how to actually, by reaching these ASEAN countries. This is one of the alternatives. They're reaching these ASEAN countries, trying to gain helps from these countries and try to build up some friendship, and try to for me, he is trying to gain something from Asian countries so that they can grow up together, and at least they can overcome. I think U.S. is trying to overcome the China countries.
I see.
Something like
so in a sense, U.S. has some image or issues that image issue that it needs to repair in the global perspective, and having all these 4 countries, which is actually very pro U.S. in the sense. In terms of the government.
As you can see now, ASEAN ASEAN is not in terms of economy stability and politics stability. The 3 pillars of the ASEAN itself is actually is now it's getting better than previously. They're getting in terms of economy. There's a increase in terms of their stability. And when US see this kind of things, they think that one day that ASEAN will overcome them. So they are trying to find a way by using the TPPA agreement, so that they can enter to the ASEAN.
Let's talk more about the TPPA. So there were protests of TPPA, anti-TPPA, in front of the University of Malaya gate. And this was protest done by the students of University Malaya, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. And in relation to the anti-TPPA protests, is this really the spirit of what Malaysian people are facing right now when it comes to U.S. Forming greater ties in Malaysia, which is in actuality is to get the Malaysian government to sign the TPPA? What's your take on this, Zurairi?
Well, I think it is certainly a prevalent attitude that TPPA is being seen as a really bad thing, and their concerns, I think, are valid. There are a lot of provisions in the TPPA, if not rectified, would harm Malaysia a lot. But at the same time, I think that TPPA itself is not all bad. I mean, there are great benefits for it, and I think if we can solve these issues before signing it, I think it will probably benefit Malaysia a lot. Not signing TPPA, on the other hand, I mean, just not signing it will harm us a lot and will definitely keep us out of the race.
In fact, I think TPPA is not like the first trade agreement that Malaysia ever signed with the US, isn't it?
It's not just with the US, it's with a lot of...
Yeah, I mean...
The Turkey FTA was just signed, if I'm not mistaken, probably a couple of weeks ago. And that too was not transparent, but nobody made a fuss about that. So I was a bit disappointed. That, I mean, I think there should be some consistency there.
So I think the biggest concern of the TPPA, since it's a it involves a lot of countries, and in a sense it also has been quite sensationalized in terms of how it would affect the livelihood of the Malaysian population. And I think the biggest concern that Malaysian public has on the TPPA is not transparent, is the deal is being made within secrecies, among world leaders. I think that's the part where people are not really sure whether we should embark on the TPPA.
Exactly. As you know, the Fed Trade Ministry itself said that he knew that is one of the risk agreement. The agreement itself has a risk, and then he said, we have to take the risk. But actually, for me, it's like you're gambling the future. You're gambling something, the Malaysian, something like you're gambling the future of the Malaysian. So, if at least we don't know the content of the agreement itself, we cannot say it's. For me, sorry, she's already. But then, for me, my stand is, it's really unfair for the Malaysian to not to know the content of the agreement itself, and if you look into what I know is like the intellectual property is actually can if there's a lot of risks that we have to look into, and then we have to have a consensus between something to come if we still want to go with this TPPA.
Is there already you wanted to add on something just now?
No, I agree. I mean, in this day and age where information is available freely, I can understand why I myself am very concerned, because there is a lot that we do not know about TPPA, and I think that has really stoked the fears in the hearts of many Malaysians, because we do not know what we are getting into, and I think it should be Putra Jaya's responsibility to stop that fear from. We should definitely. Yes, we should not gamble with our future, but I think we would be gambling a lot more with our future if we do not sign TPPA. But at the same time, we must be. Like I said, if we can negotiate to not throw away the benefits and make it a positive agreement, then I do not see why.
In fact, in his speech yesterday at the town hall, Obama did highlighted the advantages of TPPA. One of it would increase job opportunities and all that. I'm not sure how far this true is this, since the provisions of the TPPA are still in secrecy, and it's not being transparent even towards parliamentarians themselves.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think what is important right now is to remove the shroud of secrecy as much as possible, and that is through our representatives in the agreement, our negotiators, and I think they play a big role. I mean, as long as the shroud of secrecy is there, it's not going to do anyone any good. I mean, how can we advance our argument if we do not know what we are arguing against? I mean, so I think that is the first important step.
Yeah, that's true. And Lee Jin-yang and Leong Sheng, you both were there protesting the TPPA in front of Obama himself. How was it? How was the experience?
The experience, I think that is maybe a unique experience for us. There is first is talk about our protest. After the protest, many of the other people asked that, do we afraid that we'll be caught, or maybe after this we'll be charged by the university? But for us, our question is, why the Malaysians, when they face the protest, the first thing they think is, are they safe? For us, the question should be, what is the truth that we hold for?
Mm-hmm. But why you guys started the protest in the first place? Like, why you didn't join the demonstration outside the gate? Why you choose to be inside to do the protest? And how did you able to do so?
Supposedly it should be like, I'll be talking and I'll be asking some question. I'll be telling our stance, and then after that, I will introduce them, and they will stand up. We are trying to do in the diplomat ways, not in that kind of ways last night. Actually, we are trying to express our stance for these two issues. First issues is regarding the Al-Ikhwan Muslimins, 529 lives of the Muslims, and second issue is about TPPA itself. We are against the TPPA. So basically, we are trying to express to Mr. President and to let know and to create an awareness that to the whole world, because we know that there will be a media and over there. We are trying to create an awareness that these youth people need to know that there's a risk between any of the for the TPPA, and we want the president itself to know that we are actually since he's uphold the democracy, the value of democracy, and help all the human rights, value of the human rights. So we need his action. We need his response. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Talking back about the protest is because since we are invited, we just hope that there are different people can play different role in the expressing of objection. About the experience, I think Leong Sheng can share more about it.
Experience. Actually, we are quite afraid. We almost managed to give out at the last moment and tried to not. We think of not doing anything.
Did you get any?
Then, we get some. Yeah, I have to give a credit for Fahmi Zaino, our Secretary General. He is the one who dares to rise up.
I see. Interesting. Yeah. But did you get any press coverage on what you did?
Yes, we get CNN,
Malaysia Kini, Malaysia Kini, Japan, the Japan News,
Japanese business press.
I see.
And the China, I don't know if China, yes.
Yeah, I think it is a successful plan.
Yeah.
Our message is spread.
What was being reported in this? I mean, in general, on this news.
There are more to. For example, I think it's for local media. There are more to want to know what is our experience. And for international media, they tend to know more about what's the issue that we want to bring.
Mm. So it was the TPPA issue, the anti-TPPA.
And the Egypt case.
Yeah, Egypt case.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the media are actually just sorry to say Sinar Harian. They just convey some message, a bad, negative message. but they don't even interview us, and they reported like ambil kesempatan, take advantages. I'm really disappointed with that kind of statement. They should just like interview us and ask why does we do this for a reason. We do this for the sake of the people itself, the rakyat itself.
And Zurari, you are part of the media team. What was it when you saw this bunch of students raise up in front of President Obama?
Well, I thought it was interesting and a very brief effort. But,
Thank you.
Yeah, but sorry to say, but I chose not to report it because I felt I had very limited time and very limited resource. So I didn't report. I didn't write at all about that incident yesterday. Probably because it was not as newsworthy if there were more people. Because it was just probably 5 of you guys holding the placard, if I'm not mistaken. So it didn't give that much impact. But yeah, probably if there were more, it would definitely be a story.
Yeah, so that means you need to be more vocal in your protest. In other words,
this because our seat has been scattered, and also some of our comrades outside the campus. But for me, the most important that we have assured that our message has been delivered.
I see. But this is my last question to all of you. What is your expectation on Obama's town hall visit that could have been better addressed and articulated during the meeting itself? Well, I mean, if there's one thing that you think would really convey the U.S. Interest in terms of forming better ties with Malaysia, how would they be better portray themselves in this sense? I mean, we can't help but having 2 superpowers, Chinese and the Americans, as within our shores. So, in that sense, if this is to be continued, he really wants to form better ties with Malaysian. In this sense, how he could have made his visit better. Maybe we can start with Zurairi first.
Well, I think if he would like to achieve that objective, the correct avenue would not be a town hall with students. You do a town hall with the politicians, with the members of parliament, with political parties. That they would have achieved a much better result. I think. Like I said, my stand is I wasn't expecting much from the town hall with the student. It was supposed to be Obama. The way it was being portrayed is there is Obama, the celebrity, and he's just saying hi to a couple of students, and that's basically it.
But the idea of a town hall is supposed to be more critical, right, in terms of the interaction compared to an evening with Obama. That would be different, isn't it?
Exactly. You know what? I think I have an inkling that, as you might have noticed, Prime Minister Najib has been copying a lot of Obama's political strategies in the last elections. I have an inkling that he might probably do this town hall event next. So there you go, students, young leaders. There's a chance. I mean, if Najib actually holds a town hall event in the future, where we can probably throw your opinion to them. But of course, it is dependent on the gatekeepers. Just like the Obama event, they would probably just choose those who would be friendly to whoever celebrity who will be coming. So
celebrity.
I don't know how effective it will be, but yes. Because I wasn't expecting much, I thought the town hall visit was very well executed, especially for the media. I was pleasantly surprised. There were loads of tables for the media to work with PowerPoint and Wi-Fi that actually works. And there's a special area for the cameras and all, elevated platform for the cameras and all. I mean, media-wise, it was superb. Well, of course, personally, I wish that the media wouldn't have been so far at the back. That's pretty much it.
I see. Any last comment on your expectation?
For me, I would like to say about what is the weakness of the town hall of the yesterday. For me, first is I think most of the teenagers who go there don't know what actually a town hall is. Maybe because this also living in Malaysia, which I think, for my opinion, is not enough democracy. We have even left opportunities to interact with our own political leaders. And the second is, I think Obama has used too much time in answering the weak questions. For example, when other people ask him about happiness, he used a long time to answer, and then thus the teenager that truly want to ask more about policy and critical questions does not get the opportunity. Thus, I think that to overcome this, first is we should, before the town hall, we should educate the teenagers that what the town hall should be. And for me, I think it should be more on exchange ideas, exchange intellectuals, exchange about our opinions to the policies, and how we expect a superpower should carry out their responsibilities.
Very briefly.
And one thing I'm disappointed with the town hall is that Obama is trying to get the support of the people, of the youth, towards Prime Minister Najib, because he keep on praising that how good our PM Najib is doing, and I think this is one of the hidden agenda of Obama too.
Not enough neutral.
Obama, if you observe his schedule, he is covering those group of people which PM Najib failed to cover. They covered the youth, they covered the civil society, they covered the human rights.
So you are saying that he's trying to gain popular attention or popular votes among the younger generation, and also groups that the government failed to hear their voices.
Yeah, towards the government, towards PM Najib.
What about you? Your last message?
I agree with you, Sheng. And actually, as a UM student itself, we are honored and proud to have Obama to come in Malaysia, and especially in University Malaya. For me, the town hall itself, I'm pretty disappointed with the kind of question that being asked. Some of my colleagues already asked, is it an AJK Club Penyayang Obama or something like that?
Okay. Loving Obama clubs.
Loving Obama clubs. Yeah.
We love Obama.
Yeah. I don't hate Obama. We don't hate Obama. We just against. We don't hate U.S. government. We just against the agreement that will agreement of the TPPA, and we want something from Mr. President to at least uphold his democratic, as what he said, help take some actions on the lives of the 529 life.
So in other words, you want him to walk his talk.
Walk his talk.
And uphold all these democratic values and principles that he was highlighting yesterday during the town hall meeting.
Yes, true.
So in that sense, the students of University of Malaya are not against the presence of the US.
We are not against the president of US. We respect him. We respect him as a guest, and we just want to tell our stand. As what we did yesterday is we just want to tell our stand, not to create a chaos or anything. We just for the students that been asking, those immature, I'm sorry to say, I don't really offend them, because this is what happened in the community itself. They are still building up. But don't worry, there's still a room, space to build up. And I hope that the young leaders outside there, the young ASEAN leaders, can take that as something to look back.
Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for participating in this discussion regarding on Obama's visit to Malaysia, and in particular the town hall meeting itself yesterday. And thank you, Zurairi.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Adam, Leong, Yu Sheng, and also Lee Jin Yang.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
and all the best, everyone. And we hope that Obama had a good stay, 3-day stay in Malaysia. But also we hope that further discussion on policy matters, especially on TPPA and other critical issue, will further itself rather than being shrouded in secrecy. Thank you very much. This is Arlene signing off from Durian ASEAN.